Adrien Broner apologizes for walking out on press conference. So yesterday, the day before, Adrien Broner went off on people. He went off on Haymon. He went off on everybody in the press conference. He was like, so Floyd can have an actual press conference, but I can't, essentially. Then he was saying Haymon and everyone was out for him again. You know, the usual, like Broner says, you know, he goes one day from, let me think, right? He goes one day from straight up saying, oh, they my homies, they my squad, to they ain't with me, they ain't about me, they don't mess with me, they just want me under the rug, they just want me to be gone completely. It's super bipolar. You got one time and one day where he's like, A, B. And then, you know, you got the next day where he's ranting and calling everybody out and saying that, you know, someone can get their butt whooped or don't mess with me or do something like that, or threaten, or maybe even threaten them on occasion, like he did Gervonta Tank Davis before a while ago. Like, the problem with him is that he's been burning bridges. He burns his own bridges and he burns his own sources, whether if he's a good personality for boxing or not. He's responsible for most of his own demise. And he should never disrespect Haymon. Haymon could really throw him under the rug if he disrespects him. Do you know what happened to Vanez Martirosyan? Do you know what happened when he disrespected Haymon? Well, number one, Vanez became broke very quickly. Number two, he signed with Don King and still got scammed out of his own money. Number three, they put him against GGG when he was signed to Don King, and he got steamrolled in like 2 rounds. And he had never been knocked out before. So, yeah, like Adrien Broner, man, what has been going on with this guy? I understand that he's probably going through shit, you know, and that, you know, people are humans and everybody's going through certain things. But I really wanted to see that full press conference. I thought it would have been funny because he's such an entertaining icon, and it sucks to see how he's ended up in terms of his career. I'm sure if he didn't have 4 losses, and I'm sure if he had a better career in general, he'd probably be in a mentally happier state. I'm sure of that. I'm sure of it. I wouldn't doubt that, and I believe that would be a valid case. And what he said as an apology on his Instagram, I'm pretty sure he said, listen, man, I was just frustrated with a lot of shit that was going on in my life. Me and at Showtime Boxing and Haymon have no problems whatsoever. You know, that's what he said a day after saying this stuff. And that's a reasonable apology, you know. I would just say it's not very good to bite the hand that sort of feeds you. You can because he's a self-made boxer, and he has worked his ass off to get these fights, and he's worked his ass off to be an elite or world-class and world champion at one point. But sometimes when you go independent, you may not get the fights that you want. You know, like Regis Prograis is a fighter who went independent and hasn't really gotten a notable fight ever since. But that's partly due to the fact that he was never that much of a draw in the first place. Broner was always a draw, it's just that his losses have really tainted his career potential. His personality is in check. His personality is perfect for boxing. He's charismatic. He's an actual trash talker. He's smooth with it. He has good insults. He can talk. He's hilarious. He has all of these factors about his personality that could have really turned him into a massive star in the boxing realm. It's just that his talent, I guess, or his longevity as a fighter didn't match up to his potential or the type of fighters that he was facing. I don't consider him a Gervonta Davis. I don't consider him a fighter who, even though they are protected, still has world-class potential. I feel as though at one point Adrien Broner did have world-class potential, and I do feel like some of the fighters that he struggled against and almost lost to, he would have beaten at a better point of his career. Like, I think he would have beaten Jesse Vargas better. You know, I think so. I think he would have beaten Jesse Vargas in a better fashion than he did in 2018. That fight seemed pretty good too. It's just that one thing though. Jesse Vargas' acne on his back. I don't know about that, man. you know what? That's a lot off topic, but Adrien Broner in this fight, I expect the press conference to be pretty good. I expect it to be okay. I don't expect too much crazy stuff to happen unless someone gets Adrien Broner pissed off earlier before the interview. Then he comes out like the hood's only behind me or something, or how he did in that one interview where he was going in on Leonard Ellaby and talking crazy to him. You ain't with me, like. Maybe not. Maybe it will be a normal press conference. It's funny because he ain't in this text. He ain't even bring up Floyd. He just said Showtime Boxing, Al Haymon. That's it. So I assume he still got a problem with Floyd. Maybe not. Maybe he forgot to mention him. Nah, there's no way. There's no way. He probably is just like angry at that. When I was watching the actual press conference and I watched the clip, I was like, oh man. It was funny while it lasted. AB started doing his twitching stuff. He started like twitching because when he gets mad, he starts to twitch. Yeah, if you even notice in the press conference with Leonard Ellaby, he starts to like twitch like when he's mad, like just like shake his head like really like weirdly a little bit and starts like twitching every time he does like an action when he's like aggravated or pissed off when he speaks to someone. I didn't see him do that when he was younger, though. I only saw him over time. He used to not do that. But probably because he was a lot happier and wasn't as pissed off. About billions. This Omar Figueroa fight has got to be a good return for Broner. It's got to be one. It's got to be a great return for him. Because if he gets his 5th loss, his career might as well just be over at this point. And contrary to belief, I believe he can be world champion again. I believe he can, but it would have to be in perfect condition. It would have to be in perfect condition for him to be a world champion again. He'd have to get moved really, really precisely. He'd have to get moved real precise to really become a world champion again. He can pull off a Nonito Donaire-like career resurgence. I believe he can. I believe many fighters can. I think he still has enough in the tank as a fighter to really do that. He may just have to move down, though. He may just have to move down to 140 or 135 to do that. Or maybe even 140. He would need to like really move around and swish around the edges and places to really become world champ once again, And I believe he can. It just would take a lot of good management, and I don't think he has that good management on his side anymore. I mean, maybe without Haymon, yes, but anything else, he isn't. I don't think they're seeing Adrien Broner as a priority right now due to how his career played out, which is unfortunate. But that's what happens when you step up to top of the top competition and you just do not perform. He didn't perform. He didn't perform against top competition. He didn't. He lost to Mike Garcia not in good fashion. He lost to Manny Pacquiao in not good fashion. He lost to Sean Porter in not good fashion. He got beat up by Marcos Maidana. That Marcos, I'm surprised that didn't take more out of his career, due to how bad that beating was and how taxing that fight was, in my opinion. It seemed like a really bad fight for Broner in his career. If I saw a new fighter get a victory over someone and lose like that, I would think that their punch resistance may, despite at their age, may have severely decreased. I would think that. I would think that if they get hit again ever like that, they might get dropped again and again, and their punch resistance may never be the same. Broner always excelled at fighting fighters a little below the elite level that you would consider elite, I would say. So if he were to be moved at the correct times, he would have been able to beat fighters that maybe we even see now at divisions. Like what's his name? Jorge Linares. I think Broner would have beaten a Jorge Linares. I think he would have knocked him out back in 2012, I think he would have beaten maybe a Robert Guerrero back in 2017. He might, like, probably even Adrien Broner back in 2016. Like I guarantee you would have been able to fight some of those names if the timing was right, and if the timing was correct. It's just that he never had those fights. He fought, instead they put him against a Sean Porter, which was okay. That seemed like a pretty reasonable idea. Pretty reasonable. It's just that, Sean Porter, I think they kind of underestimated how real competition Sean Porter was. That seemed like a terrible stylistic matchup for a Broner. Person who pops shots and who doesn't throw that many punches in the first place, fighting someone with activity who rushes you. It just doesn't sound right. He did better against the John Molinas and the Khabib Akhmeliev fighters, those types, and the Jesse Vargases, and those types of fighters, not like the peak of elites. So let me know your opinions about this situation. Let me know how y'all felt about the press conference yesterday. Did y'all enjoy it? Did y'all think it was crazy? Did y'all even watch it? Did y'all even care? Just let me know. I would love to hear you guys' opinions. Please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. That a check. All right, bye.